Today would be the fourth message on David. And my title is What Have You Sacrificed for God? Saul was the first king for the land of Israel. And David was the second king. However, interestingly, these two kings had 40 years of kingship. But nevertheless, the outcome of these two kings are entirely different. Saul ended his life by killing himself. However, David has fulfilled his number of days when he left this world. Saul, as he left this world, he left a very bad reputation. And David died, and yet he left a very good reputation. These two persons are very different from each other. When Saul started as a king, he was a good king. He was humble. He was courageous. He led the Israelites to fight against the Philistines one and again, and they won. And for the whole nation, they enjoyed a long period of peace. However, unfortunately, he committed a mistake. His biggest mistake was he committed a mistake and had another mistake afterwards. Saul never repented. And consequently, his life was on the decline. From a very high place, he fell down at the bottom. And he was never ever had the chance to go back again. And later on, he even had engagements with the mediums. And later on, he ended his life on this earth by killing himself. David started also as a very good king. He also was very humble. He was courageous. He trusted in the Lord. But then when David was very successful, David committed the sin of adultery and murder. However, what's the difference with David? That is, after he committed a mistake, he repented. David did not commit a mistake and then added another mistake to it. What he did instead was he repented and turned back and started all over again. If we make use of a chart to represent these two persons, this is the life of Saul. As he ascended up, he committed a mistake. However, he never acknowledged the sins that he had committed. And so from the top of his life, he fell down to the bottom. And that's David's life. His life has never been good all throughout. When he failed, he also fell down. He repented and once again ascended. Then he committed another sin and then fell down. However, once again, he went up again. And this is our life. This is our life. Has there been any one of us who never committed mistake all our lives? However, for some people, they're like Saul. They commit one mistake after another. And so as a result, they did not have a chance to turn back again. However, there are some people like David. He's like the prodigal son. He made a return, allowing himself go to buy Judah and also Peter are like that. Judah, for the sake of 30 silver, he betrayed Jesus. And Peter, for out of fear, he denied Jesus Christ 3 times. Both of them failed. However, one person repented and the other one didn't repent the whole of his life. And Judah killed himself, and that's why he died. And Peter, however, out of repentance, he cried
耶稣3擺問你，你聽過嗎？
And for 3 times the Lord Jesus asked him whether he loved him or
伊流
not.
着目屎甲耶穌講：主啊，你知影我聽
And
你。
in tears he replied and told the Lord, Yes, Lord, you know that I loved you.
結果 Peter 重新站在教會嘅條著 the pillar of the church。
So once again Peter became the pillar of the church.
David 相款，
David was also like that.
David 喺人生第一季嘅時陣，
In the life of David, when he was at his bottom,
伊重新 return 起嚟。
he once again 再回復起來。
我問一個問題啦，
And so let me ask you this
是什麼嘅
question.
規律，讓 David 喺失敗中間重新屈到嚟？
What kind of power and strength enabled to David so that he can once again stand up?
這是 David 嘅秘訣，
This is the secret of
因
David.
為 David 將上帝放喺生命寶座嘅中間。
It is because David put God on the throne of his life.
God's center 是即個代表一生真正看重嘅代志。
以上帝為中心, that is the most important thing in the life of David.
掃羅多相反，
And Saul, however, was on the contrary.
喺掃羅嘅生命中間，
In the life of Saul,
佢唔是 God's center，唔是 God first。
他不是以上帝為中心, 不是上帝排第一,
佢是寶座最中心。
but rather it is his own throne that is the first in his life.
掃羅嘅王位是第一寶貴，
And to Saul, the most important thing to him is his own throne.
為了這個王位，
And because of that throne,
亦就是將 David 拍死。
he is willing and he would rather kill David.
為了這個王位，亦就是將家己家做啦，但佢罵伊，佢拍伊。
And for the sake of his own kingship, he would even scold his son
伊甚至將這是全嘅80個人攏總殺死，
and even killed the entire family of 85 persons of the priests.
甚至去教會，
Even went to the extent of having engagement with the mediums.
目的是保守伊嘅王位嘅 kingship。
The main purpose of which is to retain his kingship.
好簡單答我嚟講，
And to simplify this,
為咗追王，
for the sake of his kingship,
為咗繼續追王，
for that he can continue his
你
kingship,
什麼歹代志都係假吹。
is willing and would do any other bad thing so that he can retain it.
David 都係相反，
David, however, is on the
為咗保
opposite.
守 God center God first 喺我生命嘅中間。
David, because he wanted to keep God first in his life,
David 什麼物件都係做嚟幫殺。
David was willing to sacrifice anything.
所以今日我哋默是，你為上帝幫殺了什麼？
And that's why the title of my message today, What have you
你
sacrificed
若
for
實
the Lord?
在以上帝就咗你生命嘅中心。
If indeed God is the center of your life,
如果 God is my God is my center。
真正上帝是你的中心的時陣。
請問你哋生命中間，你不為上帝幫殺了什麼？
So let me ask you, what are the things that you're willing to sacrifice for your
你若
God?
實在聽上帝，
If you truly love God,
你實在為上帝幫殺真最應該幫殺嘅代志。
you should be willing to sacrifice many things that you ought actually to give up.
無人有當雙人嘅主，
No one can serve 2 gods,
嗱主是你嘅主，馬蒙就唔是你嘅主。
because if the Lord is indeed your God, then Mammon cannot be your God.
咱省察咱家己一個問題，
So let us examine ourselves with this question.
我信主到現在，
From the time I became a Christian
我
up to
常
this
常同
moment,
人講 God is my center, God is my first。
very often I tell people, 上帝是我的中心，我將上帝排第一。
我為上帝幫殺了什麼？
What have I sacrificed for
咱若
him?
看 David 為上帝幫殺了什麼？
If we are going to look at David, let us see what he had sacrificed for God.
David 為上帝幫殺了真多嘅財寶、真多嘅財富。
David sacrificed a lot of his possession, his wealth for God.
咱嚟看歷代志上第29章29第4節。
Let us look at 1 Chronicles chapter 29 verses 2 to 4.
我為趕上帝聖殿已經盡力，被辦了金追金器、銀追銀器、銅追銅器、鐵追鐵器、茶追茶器，嗰個紅瑪瑙較生上限嘅寶石，踩着及一切寶石被尖綴漢白玉。
With all my resources I have provided for the temple of my God, gold for the gold work, silver for the silver, bronze for the bronze, iron for the iron, and wood for the wood, as well as onyx for the settings, turquoise stones of various colors, and all kinds of fine stone and marble, all of this in large quantities.
我哋注意頭一句話，
Let us pay attention to the first phrase.
我為趕上帝已經盡了力。
With all my resources I have provided.
這句話唔是隨便通講。
This is not something you can just say
With all
carelessly.
my resources。
盡我所有的，盡我的力量。
第3節。
Verse 3.
因為我心中看無我上帝嘅聖殿，就伫備辦建造聖殿嘅材料頂面，我將我家己所缺嘅金銀囊中獻上，嚟建造我上帝嘅聖殿。
Besides, in my devotion to the temple of my God, I now give my personal treasures of gold and silver for the temple of my God, over and above everything I have provided for this holy temple. Let's look at the first sentence again. In my devotion to the temple of my God. What did I offer?
俄菲金3000塔连，就是真金意思，真金3000塔连的，精炼的银7000塔连的，以贴圣殿的桥。
3,000 talents of refined gold and 7,000 talents of refined silver for the overlaying of the walls of the buildings.
呢段經冇人知啊 ，David 為上帝幫手到盡咗依家嘅一生所缺。
This passage shows us that David was able to sacrifice a lot of his possessions, things that he had saved up. Let us look at the contents or the materials.
有金、有銀、有銅、有鐵、有茶、有寶石、有漢白玉。
There were gold, silver, bronze, iron, wood, fine stones, and marble.
All
these things are very precious. Not only that. And he says that out of his devotion for the holy temple, all the things that he has saved for himself. That is, it's like your time deposit inside the bank. He even bring out all of these things. 3,000 talents of gold, which is equivalent to 100 tons of refined gold. And there are 7,000 talents of silver, which is equivalent to 260 tons of refined silver. These are the savings of David, which he put inside Metro Bank or inside PS Bank. All these things he took them out of his devotion to the holy temple of God. And the offering of David, his sacrifices, can be used. One word can be used to describe it. Terrifying. If there's one person who's willing to offer that much, we can say he's crazy. This is a terrifying offering. Many people know that possessions or wealth is something very precious. Some people, out of the love for money, they're willing to sacrifice and give up a lot of things. Some people will give up their families. Some people will give up their health. Some people will even abandon their faith for the sake of getting more wealth. Unfortunately, very often, the moment they got all this wealth, they came to realize the things that they have lost are even more precious than the wealth that they have gained. Because he lost his family, his faith, and his own health. I know of a brother. He's very successful in terms of his business. When his life is in a certain climax, he came to know that he has cancer. And of course the church prayed for him. Of course I prayed for him. One time when I went to the hospital to visit him, he told me one thing. He said, "Pastor, now I'm very rich. The more I do business, the greater it becomes." I always say, and I keep on saying, I'm very, very busy. And at this time that I get sick, no matter how busy I am, I still have to be lying here inside the hospital. As I look at the ceiling, suddenly a verse appears in my mind. And I ask, what is that verse? It says, this is the verse. What good will it be for someone to gain the whole world yet forfeit their soul? Or what can anyone give in exchange for their soul? He said that this verse is just like a dagger that's stuck in my heart.